My name's Daniel Ramirez. I graduated from Cal State Northridge class of 2020 with a journalism broadcast major with a minor in Spanish journalism. Started working at KDRV NewsWatch 12 here in Medford, Oregon in early November. I'm still here. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, reporter, producer, and yeah, here for you guys, whatever you guys want to know.
Okay. So can you tell us how different it is to cover the news in Oregon and in California? That is something that like highlighted for you?
Maybe I would be able to change the question a little, especially, I mean, I'm assuming all of you guys are still in college. I mean, I'm trying to remember some of the things that, I mean, from my experience, at least for me at Csun, it was a lot of being able to grab onto the ropes, kind of get an understanding, and especially in the newsroom, you get a sense of what it takes to be able to build out a show and just the deadlines that you have to deal with as well. So over here, once you get into a station, you kind of pick up on that a little. So there's more responsibilities that you have to take care of. And like I said, being at a smaller station, usually there's a lot more stuff that tends to fall on your shoulders, and it's something that you have to be prepared for, whether it's having to, so I know, I'll give an example. I know I don't think they have the class anymore, but for Matador News, it was a group of about 20 of us, where either half of us were out in the field reporting and then the other half would produce the show. Over here, we have, sometimes it'll be just one producer producing an hour-long show, which at first was something that I want to say my first week, it was something I couldn't imagine myself doing. But just over the course of time, with practice and everything, getting the hang of it, being able to talk with my news director, being able to take some tips from him, and just making sure that it's something to be able to improve on. So yeah, just overall, the responsibilities grow, the deadlines are a lot quicker. Sometimes we'll have to take charge of multiple stories in a single day, and you have to have different segments for each show. So here, especially me, since I just work a regular day shift, I have to have segments ready for our 4 p.m. newscast, our 5 p.m. newscast, and our 6 o'clock. And each one has to provide something different to keep the viewer intrigued.
Yeah, that's really nice. You said that you were hired as producer and reporter, but you prefer reporting. Why?
Yes. Just for me, being able to be well, I don't want to say the fact of being able to be in front of the camera, but just getting out, being able to go in the field. I mean, granted, it's nice to have a balance between the two, but just being able to interact with the people that you're telling their story and getting a sense from them to make sure that you're doing it right in their regard, to get that angle right, making sure that the slightest of details, picking up on things, and then also having that experience as a producer, you know what they're expecting from you to be able to produce. So in the mornings, we have meetings where we're able to pitch our stories, and we talk with our news directors, and our producers are hearing these as well. And once we're about to wrap up, the producers are able to give some expectations. So it's like, all right, if you're going to go to such and such place, we could expect maybe for you to go live and hopefully be able to have a soundbite from someone to be able to hear from along those lines. So yeah, it's granted, again, I like being more on the reporter side, but having that experience from the producer also is really helpful in improving also as a reporter.
That was something that you changed your mind when you started working there, or it was something that you always had in mind that you prefer reporting?
I think always I had that plan of just wanting to be able to tell stories. And I think just as a reporter role, I have more direct access to be able to tell that story. Granted, as a producer, I think it's you get more of an understanding as to what the viewer is actually getting from you. So yeah, you once you produce an entire show, you realize there's hundreds of people, or potentially even thousands, that are looking at it, and this is the information that they're getting. This is their eye to the outside world. So being able to provide that for them, in certain places that they can't be. So it's just something that's, as a reporter, it's empowering, but also it's an effort to be able to tell the story to the best of your ability. It's something that motivates you.
Do you have any advice for someone who is shy of the camera but has to report in college or in the future?
Um, I mean, I'm a little shy. I remember my first story that I covered was a community center that was opening its doors. And for the first few minutes, I was just standing right outside because they gave me a name, they gave me a location, and they were like, all right, you can go cover it. So I took it on, and I was just standing outside for a while. I was kind of nervous. I saw people talking and everything. And in the meantime, I was just recording footage, just if they would have normal video and they'll talk over it. That's what I had in mind. But I had a competitor, a reporter from a competitive station. They showed up and they jumped in. They found the person that was in charge. They found the person that was leading the event, and they got an interview. So seeing that, I was like, all right, I can do this. So I kind of just tagged along right after they finished up, and I was able to introduce myself. And yeah, it went from there. And it's just all a matter of confidence, all a matter of experience. I know I'm a better reporter, I'm a better producer than I was the very first day that I got here. So it all just comes with time. And granted, you might not feel as comfortable now, but it's something that, again, just it's all a matter of experience.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you took a while between college and finding your job. And how was this transition from something that you needed to do to be graded to something that it's gonna really inform people, like the real deal of the job?
Well, that gap, it was just a matter of flipping my own switch. So, I mean, I graduated and I was making good money. I was doing fine, but I saw other people that had already graduated as well, and they were already at other stations. And I was like, I think I should start taking initiative and try to get on this as early as possible. And yeah, that was just a matter of I mean, you guys have a great asset at your disposal. Lincoln is one of the biggest reasons that I have this job to begin with. So, I mean, from him, it was just, I was seeing people going to stations in Chico, somewhere in the Dakotas, Texas. Someone went to Arizona, and I was like, all right, I reached out to Lincoln, and I was like, I need to figure out a situation to be able to build out a reel. And he's more than willing to help. He was more than willing to help me, and he's more than willing to help out anyone that just sends him an email, and he'll make time, he'll make the effort, and he'll be able to help you out in building stuff together that you have already worked on, and to be able to take that next step in finding a job. Yeah, that was one of the helping factors. And then just having a resume ready, a letter to be able to send out to stations. And from there, it's just sending your stuff out. I mean, for me, Lincoln helped me post my reel on YouTube, and within 24 hours, I had emails from 2 different stations.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said that you have a minor in Spanish journalism.
Yes.
So that's in your future plans? Start reporting in Spanish, just Spanish, or like using both languages? What's your future plans?
I think, I mean, I haven't really been able to have the opportunity to do much Spanish reporting here in Medford. Granted, there is a Latino community here, and I've been able to interact with them plenty of times, but I haven't had the chance to be able to cover that, but I do plan on being able to do so over some time in the future. But yeah, in regards to later on in the future, I would be interested in being able to go to a station, maybe I would say like a Phoenix or along those lines, but just to be able to go focused as a Spanish reporter would be something that I'd be interested in. So yeah, having that as a minor is definitely a great asset. And the fact that I'm bilingual and I can speak Spanish fluently is something great. And they're granted, everyone can have their different benefits and several little characteristics to be able to have them stand out from just any other reporter.
That's really nice. Yeah. And what would you say, how the broadcast classes here at Csun helped you get there, like where you are right now?
I would say they put me in the right mindset as to where kind of be able to mold what I wanted to do in the future. So, I mean, at first when I got to school, I was like, all right, it'll be cool. I'll be able to maybe cover sports or something, just like any, I'm trying to figure out the word, but yeah, it's kind of like a generic term for like maybe some guy that just really likes sports and he wants to do that for his career. And it's a really competitive market. I've had people that come to the station and they occasionally train us, and she kind of described the situation to me. It's, yeah, maybe across the country, there's maybe a handful of open sports jobs. And that's really how it is. But in regards to news, there's a lot more opportunities, and that's a more ideal way to be able to get your career path started, which is why when I saw the position for reporter producer, I knew I wasn't that great producing, and I knew I had a lot to improve on as a reporter. But that's part of what you have in mind when you go to your first station. You're going to be able to improve on that. You'll have that ability to make the occasional mistake on live television, but you're going to improve on that, and you're going to make sure to build on that for once your time is up at your first station, you'll be able to take the next step.
Yeah.
All
Everyone,
right.
anyone has any questions for him, feel free to.
Well, I mean,
raise your
for
hand.
starters, I know we jumped right into it, but I figure everyone could just kind of like briefly introduce themselves, and yeah, just along those lines, we can go around.
Yeah. Jesse, you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm Jesse. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm
Pleasure.
the president of RTDNA. I actually do have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Going based off of what you just talked about, and just for we have a lot of newbies in here. I'll call them newbies. You have a lot of confidence in yourself, or at least you project it. How long would you say that it took you to find that type of person in you? Because we've heard some horror stories in terms of like how bad things can go, and we want to make sure that our members like know that they're going to be okay no matter what. And I see it in you, and like you're a perfect example of it. So
well, I try to show that confidence as much as possible. And again, that just comes with the matter of experience. I mean, even when I made the move up here, I knew I was doing a lot better as a reporter. I mean, I'm trying to remember one story that I did with either Bea or someone else out in the field for Matador News, where we would kind of like nervously walk up to students on campus and be like, hey, you want to like answer a few questions for us? And it's like, now it's like, all right, I have a whole approach set up where it's like, all right, I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna let you know who I am. And if we could schedule either a Zoom call, or I can go out there and be able to just ask you a few questions. It all just, again, it's just over a matter of time. If you feel nervous now, don't worry about it. You got time, and just put yourself out there. Honestly, just, it's another situation I could kind of explain it to was completely sidetracked, but it kind of correlates similar. Is my mom, she moved here from Mexico, and she had to pick up English, and she's taken English classes over years and along those lines. And I would talk to her, I talked to her in Spanish, but the one thing she tells me is usually the situations where she felt like she learned the most was in situations where it was like on the spot, like at the cash register, where she had to speak to someone and talk in English. So it's in those moments, it's in those pressure moments that you're able to break a little from those nerves to be able to change it up and make sure that you grow. That's, I figured, to be able to, in a way, to be able to look at it.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, so yeah, I figured we can go to the introductions again.
Cynthia, you want to go next?
Yeah. Hold on. Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I am the communications chair here at RTDNA Csun. I'm a senior. I'm studying broadcast journalism. This is my last semester. So are we introducing and then just asking a question, or are we just introducing full round?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. What was it? I had a couple.
Okay,
did you have any internships during your time at Csun?
I did not. I was the off case that, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that I didn't try looking into them, but I was basically working full time most of the time that I was at school. And granted, I did think that was going to set me back in the process of looking for a job. I know it can look really strong on a resume, being able to say I've worked at certain station and along those lines. But I figure overall, more than anything, just being able to, I mean, at least for me, I think what helped me out was being able to have a strong reel to be able to send out. And again, Lincoln helped me out in that regard. But I figure, yeah, at least for me, I didn't have any internships, but I know it's something that if you get the opportunity, definitely take it. The experience is always more than welcome in any situation. So.
You're on mute.
There you go.
I saw that. I was like, wait. Yeah, because I've had literally trouble looking. Well, I've applied to so many internships, and then they reply so late. And it literally, I applied in like June or July for different stuff for like Disney and stuff like that, or like ABC. And then 3 months later, they were like, sorry, we went with other candidates. I was like, oh, that's fine, I guess. But that's good. So having a strong reel is a definite thing that I need to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, at least for like internships, granted, I know it could be maybe a lot more difficult right now with the continuing pandemic and that sort of thing. With the reel, honestly, I would say if you have the chance, I know for Lincoln and we had Sally, and we would just, those were the few packages, that was the few coverage that I did. But going back, I know I could have done something maybe on my own terms. Just be able to rent out the equipment from on campus, just take it with you. And if there's something that you want to cover, something that you're really passionate for, go ahead and just go for it. And whether you can be able to get interviews along those lines, you could get creative with it as well. And yeah, just definitely being able to have that experience, and just as much, the more content that you have, the more you have to choose from to be able to edit out and create for those segments that you'll eventually publish, and it's going to help you be able to get a job later on.
That's true. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Before the next person goes, I was wondering if you can show us your reel that you posted, that you got the job.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I still have that one. And then I also have one that I just built out a few days ago. So
yeah, that's nice.
we can try that. Let me see.
And everyone see that? Shabam.
Yeah.
Is it too loud?
This is NewsWatch 12 at 5.
No, it's good.
On the Vaccine Watch tonight, 2 federal agencies are recommending the United States pause the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you for joining us for NewsWatch 12 at 5. I'm Daniel Ramírez. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says the decision comes after reports of a rare and severe type of blood clot.
Good afternoon. As you can see around me, you can see the different instances in which the fire was started. Now, according to the Medford Police Department, one of the suspects who was arrested created a campsite where eventually he started piling up trash, and that's where it eventually got out of hand. Students at Scenic Middle School got together today here at Eagle Point Cemetery to commemorate those who have fallen and have fought for our country, all getting ready for this upcoming Memorial Day weekend.
Brett crews continue to reinforce both dozer lines and hand lines to secure the northern portion of the fire, and the majority of the intense fire activity remains on the east and southeast sides, pushed by the northwest winds through the heavy mixed conifer. After what seemed like a brief return to normalcy here at the First Presbyterian Church in Ashland, officials here at the church are now ready to go back to the virtual ceremonies in light of the recent rise in COVID variant cases. And I had the chance to ask Lieutenant Boudreau if he believes that there would be any potential gang-related correlation, to which he said it's unknown at this time, and there's not enough evidence to say yes so far.
Today, I had the chance to speak to one of the officials here at the Bear Creek Golf Course, and he tells me that he found out just a few hours ago that the proposal has actually been approved by the Medford Water Commission. And although last year's event wasn't the same because of the pandemic, today, students made sure to be able to commemorate each and every name on every gravestone in a proper way.
Oh, it was probably a couple of minutes.
For Dave Larson, decision making.
So yeah, the rest of it is just packages that I have at the end in case someone that's the recruiter or something is still watching, and they'll be able to see longer segments of the stuff that I've been able to create. But yeah, that's kind of the gist. And I mean, I noticed one of the comments saying just the shots, and that just comes with being able to have the opportunity of a photographer. Granted, those where the camera's actually panning around and stuff, those are probably some of the earlier stories that I've done. And now, since we've been struggling with just at least here at our station, we've been struggling with staff and that sort of thing. At times it's me, the one that's carrying the equipment, creating the stories, editing my segments, going out in the field. And it's all these different responsibilities, but granted, it all just comes with experience to be able to get comfortable in those situations.
Yeah, you literally do everything. That's cool.
And it could be you guys, honestly. Just give yourselves the confidence in those moments. Trust me. I mean, it was yeah, about a year and a half ago, I was in these Zoom calls, part of RTDNA, hearing from people going through the same things.
So all of these equipments, they let you borrow, right? Like everything, or is this some of your stuff in
So-
there as well?
Yeah, they have the equipment here at the station. Granted, I could maybe buy I'm planning on potentially over time buying a few more things to be able to provide a little different more to the stories that I create. Because again, all the stuff that I do here, it's all in an investment to be able to get ready for the next place that I may go to. And it's all something that I would continue building on my experience. I have a coworker here who has a GoPro camera, and I'll occasionally borrow it from him to be able to use it as a second camera angle to a shot that I'm doing or an interview along those lines. So little things like that, if you have those opportunities, I know there's a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment that you guys could borrow at the station, but yeah, just definitely take full advantage of those opportunities to be able to use that stuff. And yeah, honestly, just something that you're passionate about. I don't know if Davis has given you guys the lecture about your passion, but
That was in the
yeah.
beginning. In the beginning, when you first meet him, it's the passion thing. Like, what are you
There you
passionate
go.
about? Guys, find your passion first.
Yes, if something sticks with me is definitely that. So at least for you guys to make it easier, something that you're passionate about, go out, make a story about it, create some segments, and then by all means, if you guys need help and if there's any way that if you guys feel comfortable, I'm more than willing to be able to help you guys out in any regard regarding editing, or if I can't help, I'll find someone who could be able to help you guys. Definitely.
Would you mind leaving your email on the chat as well?
Yeah.
Just for anyone in case they want to reach out.
Of course.
Thank you.
Granted, I don't check my email all that often, but I'll definitely put it up. Usually, I want to say social media is probably where I see my messages the most and I'm actually replying back. So I will drop, feel free, I'll just drop my Instagram there. Or my LinkedIn, I could do that as well.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Of course. Yeah, if there's one thing that I've learned, it's being able to help each other out. It's all a matter of connections, and at least for me, the reporters that have been here longer, that have more experience, being able to spend time with them, even if it's on my own time, to be able to go out into the field with them, pick their brain, and kind of learn more just overall, because it's all in an investment towards the future. Yeah, so that's my email, is my Instagram, and then LinkedIn. I'm guessing here I could probably just put a link to my LinkedIn as well.
So in the meantime, Jillian, Anthony, Damien, Francisco, any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Don't be shy.
Go for it, con confianza.
Wait, did you always want to be like a news reporter, or like did you want to cover like sports, weather, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I had the whole thing with sports. I mean, the little kid, you're always like, yeah, I'm gonna be a professional baseball player, professional football player. You find out, well, at least for me, I found out that wasn't going to be the case. I am not physically capable. So it's like, all right, what's the next best thing? Being able to cover sports, whether it's a play-by-play, an analyst, along those lines. And then, yeah, it was until I started having classes with Davis, the realist, and being able to do stuff in Matador News or Valley View as well, that, yeah, I mean, hardcore news, I mean, I didn't like it. And to some extent, I'll struggle watching it, but I know it's something that, at least for the job that I have here, it's something that benefits me to watch. So And especially on a local level, you have somewhat flexibility. It's like, okay, you don't have to talk about the presidential election or COVID all the time. You can find a local story about a market that's opening up to the community, or a vaccine clinic that's making itself available to minorities along those lines. So you can be able to pitch those stories. You could be able to have some wiggle room to something that you're leaning more towards. It doesn't have to be the same run of the mill stuff that you may see on national coverage.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, can I ask one more?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, what do you think is more competitive, like sports, whether like what do you think is like the most competitive one to do?
Definitely sports.
Yeah.
Definitely sports. Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, one of my coworkers, he used to be my roommate. And I mean, I think our station, at least here in Southern Oregon, is the only one with the sports department. And he's almost an all-out professional. So it's really competitive. The people that really have a drive for it. Granted, I mean, it's not something not to rule out, but yeah, it's definitely really competitive. And even for the smaller markets, there's people that have plenty of experience already under their belt.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I have a question.
go
My
for
name's
it.
Damien, by the way. I'm a broadcast journalism major. It's my first semester at Csun. So,
Wow.
yeah, getting started a little early, but
It's better. There you go.
yeah, thanks. My question pertains to competitiveness as well, kind of like what we were talking about
Mhm.
in regards to the difference between sports, weather, that sort of thing. I want to get into politics. I want to cover like I want to work on a national level eventually. Obviously, that's
Mhm.
very, rarely does a reporter start at the national level. But what do you suggest to someone who wants to cover politics in the nation's capital or New York, on the East Coast, that sort of thing?
Okay. Where can we go with this? Well, first off, the moment you said the nation's capital, I'll drop you a connection. I have a friend who graduated recently too, and she's in Washington, D.C. right now. And yeah, I know politics is pretty tedious, but granted, again, it's going to be something that if you're planning on doing for the rest of your life, might as well be something that, again, you're passionate for, you're driven, and you're going to push yourself to not just do the minimum to say, all right, I'm done for the day. No, we're going to take that extra step and make sure that the content's out there, the effort is there. So if you're going to jump straight into politics, granted, you said it's your first semester, you got plenty of time to be able to gain some experience, internships around there in the area, and you'll be able to make plenty of connections. What better place to start than LA? So
Totally. So just look for internships now, right? Try to get networked sooner
yeah,
than
get
later.
networks, and definitely I'll connect you with this person that I'm telling you that she's getting her master's right now virtually at Arizona State, but yeah, she's in Washington, D.C. right now. And it's also another thing too, is being able to feel comfortable in making a potential move out of the area. I mean,
Right.
I was born and raised in LA. It was my first time moving out of the house. So that's another thing to look at as well.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Of
it.
course. Yeah. And I figured we could exchange information later, but I'll definitely do my part to be able to connect you with her.
I appreciate that. Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course. All right. You got a
Hi, I'm
minute?
Anthony.
All right, there you go. What's up?
Okay, so I was just like wondering, like, what made you decide to major in journalism when you enter college?
Yeah, that correlates with what I had in mind. It's I was still in that mindset where it's just like, all right, I'm gonna graduate with a journalism major and be able to go cover sports. So I still had that thought process of wanting to be able to cover sports, not really knowing that it was such a competitive market, that there's a lot of people with a lot of experience. The person that works here, he's telling me that he's been doing play-by-play for like high school games, and he's been doing it since he was, I think, like a sophomore in high school. So he's had all that experience. He can do play-by-play for football. I've seen him do play-by-play for soccer games, and just having that openness, he has to have connections as well to all the high schools here in the area, all the colleges, all the coaches, all the athletic directors. And that's something that I wasn't fully aware of until I met him. So it was until I had the chance to be able to talk with Davis, and he kind of just knew me as the sports head. So he broke it down to me, telling it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to figure something out, because sports is a really competitive market. And that's where I found myself more open to, all right, what if I start with news, find myself a job, get that experience, and who knows what I could be able to do with this. Again, I could do Spanish reporting, and I haven't done any yet, but I could still be able to gain that experience here and be able to use that. Or even if I were to join along with him and help him do some play-by-play, or if I have to cover if he's sick and I have to do sports for a day from the station, along those lines, things like that.
Okay, thank you. And another question, how much do you make per year? Or unless it's like a personal question, if you don't mind.
I could keep it generic and just say, it's, at least for me, it's not great. I took a pretty big pay cut from where I was originally working at to make the move here. But I know financial situations can be different for everyone, and that always plays a big factor. Fortunately for me, I didn't really have to consider all that much when I made the decision to come up here, because there's a lot of expenses. They did help us out with the move over here, but whether it's having to pay a down payment for an apartment and just grocery shopping on a regular basis, and little things like that over time they'll continue to build up. But that wasn't really a factor for me when I made the move over here. And again, it's more just of an investment on myself. I'm gonna put in the work, and we'll make sure that by the next job that I get the opportunity to be able to head out to, that way I could be able to have more way room to negotiate. And yeah, but yeah, that's money wise. It's really tough with the first job. I will say, maybe you get lucky and you find a really good opportunity, but yeah, it's to be able to look at it in a better perspective, just look at it as an investment in yourself, and to be able to that way improve and make a lot more, and you'll be able to have a lot more negotiating room to once you take the next step.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. I hope that kind of answered the question.
I actually have a question. It's maybe more simple than what it's gonna let off, but in regards to like, well, I should say this. I'm a PR major, right? So my resume is gonna work with my portfolio like hand in hand. The portfolio I know is ultimately gonna make or break me. For you, or for broadcast, I know it's like the reel with the portfolio, with the resume, but would you say that the reel is more important than a resume in your field?
At least in the process for me to get a job, I think it made more of an impact, because granted, when I put mine up, again, within 24 hours, I had emails from a station in Yakima, Washington, where I actually know someone that works at that station. And then also from another one out in, I think it was like South Dakota. But yeah, the moment you put the reel up, and one thing that I've been able to pick from my news director here, because we're looking for people that are interested in working, is that I know with the pandemic, it can be tough to grab the equipment, go out to the field, try to find people to talk to, and you have the guidelines to worry about. People may be concerned about just a little different things. But yeah, just if you have the chance to be able to put in the work and yeah, just have enough material to build something out, it's something that I think news directors would really be able to keep a keen eye in opening up to you. And that way, if they like what they see, they'll at least be able to reach out to you, and you make their way from there. Interview process, maybe, at least for me, there was like a quiz or something, kind of just keeping up to date with the news along those lines. But
oh yeah,
yeah, it's all just a matter of being comfortable. I know the interview process can be another really concerning thing. at least for me, I don't want to say I was taking it for granted, but I wasn't trying to show any like nerves or anything. Like our news director, he's a really big football fan. Spent about half of the time talking about football with him. The guy that leads our station, he's also a big football fan, but he roots for another team. All right, we could be able to kind of talk about that as well. And those are the things that stick out with me. Granted, it was a hard, down to the nose interview, but just being able to casually talk about those things. I know we were able to laugh at other stuff, but just being incredibly casual about it, don't overthink it, and yeah, stuff like that.
Cool. Just a quick follow-up. Do you think that you did anything special with your reel in terms of them finding you so fast, like hashtags or just anything? Because that's pretty impressive. I mean, like,
Yeah,
24 hours. That's awesome.
I want to say, at least I know the station in Yakima, the reason that they reached out to me was the fact that I was bilingual. So I did do one package in Spanish of a community center that I was born and raised in. So I was able to cover that. I spoke to the lead organizer who'd known me since I was probably in elementary school.
Got it.
So being able to cover there, do a package there. Granted, I didn't do a stand-up for it, but just the whole time it was in fluent Spanish. And that's why I got the call. And they were like, yeah, we're looking for someone to be able to work at our sister Telemundo station along those lines. So that was one thing that did give me the edge. So yeah, by all means, for anyone here that's bilingual, definitely take advantage of it, because it's a great asset to have.
Nice. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question on the chat from Cynthia. Have you had anyone reach out on LinkedIn for work?
On LinkedIn, I don't, at least in the process that I was looking for jobs, no. But I know, again, it could be different, or maybe they have reached out to me. Maybe I just didn't reach back. But yeah, just having the real people that you know, or people that your friends know, that your coworkers know. Like I said, it's just all a matter of connections. And I mean, at least for the case with Damien, it's like, yeah, I'm the middle person, but he wants to be able to do hard news in Washington, D.C., like the people that are stationed there and they're reporting there on a daily basis, because the slightest thing can happen there and it's news. So be able to provide that connection to him, to someone that's already at Washington, D.C., doing work similar to that, that's kind of what it's all about.
Anyone have any more questions for him?
Yeah, or I figured just introductions too. I know there's a few people I still haven't
Oh yeah.
really been able to hear
You want to
from.
go next?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Csun, RTDNA's marketing director. I'm a senior. I'm also a public relations major, just like Jesse. So I've dabbled in broadcast. I've made a reel. I don't want to do it again.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't know. I was told it was good, but I don't know. I look at it and I don't really approve. But
It was the best in the class.
yeah, that's what my friends say. No, but it was all right. And so right now I just want to go public relations route. I was going to ask how writing has affected you in broadcast, and like what were some steps you went to for writing broadcast as opposed to like a public relations writer.
Huh. I'm trying to think of all the little tiny nitpicks that I may use, but I figure just over time they kind of just you take them for granted. Definitely there's let me see. I know my writing has been able to change over time, and especially one of the classes that stood out to me was a class that I had my sophomore and I think my junior year, where the professor, he taught us really to write in a more like in a newspaper sense. So kind of just state the facts, and you don't really focus much about like the past and present tense, since the newspaper can be something that's just going to stay there and you're not going to find out anything too new until the next day. And then but yeah, granted, with reporting, you really have to focus on the now, on the what's ahead. They really they really make sure to put that emphasis out there. And granted, it might be the same for public relations. The the bit of experience that I have with public relations, we have to interact with them a lot, especially for fire seasons. So there's a lot of fires here in Southern Oregon and Northern California. And usually the people that we reach out to when we were trying to cover these fires are public information officers, which I'm assuming they probably have a public relations background, just being able to, they have this information and just to be able to get it out there. Granted, one thing I will point out, financially perspective, public relations do tend to have the upper edge. As a matter of fact, we had one reporter who used to work here, and she just transferred out to work as a public relations for a local fire station here, and she's doing significantly better. So, but yeah, I figure there's, I don't want to say there's maybe that many differences, but yeah, just a lot of making sure to focus on just what's taking place now. If you're going as a reporter, if you're going live, try to be able to detail the area that's around you, make sure that's a point of emphasis. And then obviously towards the end of any segment that you have, try to like toss into like what's coming ahead, what's in the works for whatever it is that you're covering. I know it was kind of a tedious response, but
Now, the more info, the better.
yeah.
Jillian, do you like to present yourself and make a question?
Hello, hi, I'm Jillian.
Hello.
I am a television production major, so I'm not really into writing. I'm more on the production side. I had a question at the very beginning, but then I forgot it. And when you get put on the spot, I forget questions easily. So
It's all right. If it comes back, feel free to just, we'll halt everything and
okay, I'll type in the chat though. But it was good meeting you.
of course, likewise.
Alexia, do you want to present yourself and maybe ask a question for Daniel?
Oh, all right, hold on. Tyler, you're not going to have those car noises on, are you?
We'll be okay.
Sorry, he's
That's
playing
all right.
a car game. Okay, hi.
Hello.
I'm Alexia. No, I'm not on mute. Shush. Oh, no, I'm not on you. Okay, sorry. Meeting,
all right.
yeah. Okay, I think one of my questions would be like how, and I'm sure it's probably already been asked, I had to come in last minute. Like, how has your experience been with producing? Like, do you like it? Do you not like it?
At first I hated it. I hated it with the burning passion, but just yeah, it's just a matter of getting comfortable with it. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefits that go along with it, and there's a lot of room for creativity to be able to do certain things. You could be able to, I'm trying to think of something in particular that I've been able to do as a producer. Just one thing, definitely being able to push the reporters. So I remember one time as a reporter, I was telling the producer of, okay, so we're planning on being able to do this live segment where the two of us are going to be interacting in this set that we hadn't used in about, I think, months. But so we were organizing that, and there was this like whole buildup to it, and it didn't come out so great. But still, the fact that we tried it and we knew what went wrong to be able to work on it for the next time is something that, as a producer, I know I would have been excited for, just for the sake of, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to organize this, and just to try something different, to be able to change it up a little. So there's definitely still some room for creativity as a producer,
right,
that I didn't know of when I started. So that's why I hated it so much. But eventually, over time, gaining that experience, it's like, all right, I started off little. It's like, all right, I can fill out a segment from one commercial break to another for myself. And then I could finish up half of a show, so about half an hour. And then now, granted, really tight on time, I want to say I could be able to fill up an hour-long show. So yeah, it's just all a matter of experience, but I'm definitely more comfortable with producing now. And it's nice to being able to have that balance as a reporter and as a producer.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, I have a last question. You know me, I'm Bea. I'm the vice
It's been a while,
president.
Bea.
Yeah, maybe like a year and a half or something.
Been
Or
that
more,
long.
actually, yeah.
No.
Well, but I actually have a question for you. Would you say that sport is still your passion, or what you're doing now became something more to you?
At least for now, I would say maybe I've kind of lost a little traction on what I wanted to do maybe growing up. But who knows, maybe down the road an opportunity will be able to come up. And hopefully in this time, I might get the chance to be able to build on that experience. Would it be something that I'd like to do? Probably, yeah. But also maybe I'd like to be able to also take on the role of being a Spanish reporter. That'd be also something I'd be really interested in doing, to be able to use my main language as my main resource to be able to tell stories, be able to interact people that, again, maybe English isn't their first language, and stories like that to be able to go out and cover. So it all just comes a matter with the opportunities later down the road. And yeah, I'm not in a position to rule a lot of things out. So somewhere along those lines later down the road, we'll be able to figure it out.
Nice. Before we wrap up the meeting, because we are getting to our 1 hour mark, anyone has any more questions for him? No. Then do you have any more advice for freshmen?
Oh my goodness, freshmen? Jesus.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yes, no, definitely just get down to it. Get even on your own time if you have the chance. Again, this is all in a build up, in an investment to yourself to be able to take that next step. So the more that you're able to work on your craft now, the more you're able to build on your experience, the more you're able to relax your nerves in front of the camera. Granted, I'll still have nervous moments, and it's gonna happen, but you're still in the learning process. So don't let that discourage you at all. And yeah, just continue just pushing forward. And even if it's not a package for a class, it's something that it's a passion project. You could look at it like that, a passion project, and you have the resources available to you to be able to make that happen. So those would be my words. And then, yeah, just connections. And by all means, me included, if you want to be able to reach out to me for anything along those lines. And if I can't be the one to answer your question, to be able to help you out, I can connect you with someone who can.
That's really nice. Thank you. I thank you in name of everyone of the RTDNA for coming today. It was a really nice meeting and nice to catch up with you.
Of course. No, thank you all. I mean, yeah, sorry again for being late, but hopefully they would make up for it somehow.
Yeah, you're working. We get it.
There you go. Yeah, honestly, hope to hear from you guys, and yeah, just keep pushing forward. If any of you get the chance, tell Lincoln or Davis that I said hello, and they'll know who I am. Best believe.
Sure.
Thanks,
I'll let
Daniel.
them know.
Sure thing. All right, well, thank you all. I think I'm probably head
Okay,
home
thank
now.
you.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
Some rest.
Yeah. All right, bye guys.